Hey everybody, welcome back for your second quarantine workout. Again, we're going to be doing a Pilates reformer inspired workout. So today you're going to need your mat, you're going to need 2 gliders or towels, whatever you got, and then for resistance, your 2 hand weights, or you can go with soup cans, water bottles, whatever works for you. We're going to start in our center core warm-up in a plank position. So bringing your forearms down onto the ground, extending your body out long. Create one long line from the crown of your head out through your heels. Start to squeeze through your abs, keeping that breath nice and steady. Start to connect to your inhale in through the nose, exhale back out. Try and keep a little bit of contraction going through your abs the entire time, kind of like you're just pressing all of your sides in towards center. Keeping those legs nice and straight. Squeeze your glutes just a little bit. You have less than 10 seconds to go. And then we're gonna start to walk our plank, coming up onto outstretched arms in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Walk up onto outstretched arms and then bring it back down onto your forearms. Your goal here is to keep your hips as motionless as possible. So if you need to walk your feet out a little bit wider than hip distance, totally cool to find that stability. But otherwise, you want to keep the work going through your center abs. You're also working through your obliques here to help you stay steady side to side without letting those hips droop down. You have about 10 more seconds to go here. Try and keep it slow as you press up and come back down. So this movement is under your control. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. Go ahead and grab your weights. You're gonna lie down on your back, bringing this into a weighted crunch. So coming all the way back down, bend your knees to a 90-degree angle so your feet are hovering up at hip knee height, and then reach your arms up above your shoulders. And then from here, pressing your belly button down so that you're drilling your low back into the mat beneath you. Start to crunch, extending your arms and your legs out long as you exhale, and then inhale back to center. Extend all the way up, rolling your head, neck, and shoulders up as one complete unit. So try not to let your head come up first. You want to think about your shoulder blades reaching up and off first, and your head and neck follow as one complete unit. Keeping it slow, really focusing on where you feel the movement coming from. It should be from your 6-pack. So thinking about the contraction of your ribs towards your hips first. We're gonna hold everything out for hundreds in 4, 3, 2, and extend everything out long. Start to pulse your arms. If the weights become too much, totally cool to set them down. And if it starts to feel like your SCMs are taking over in your neck, totally fine to take a rest through that head and then roll back up into that crunch. Trying to keep those inner thighs pressing together, steady in your breath. You have less than 10 seconds, and then we're bringing it back into that full range crunch. Back to your tabletop in 3, 2, and 1. Find your tabletop, reconnect way back to the mat beneath you, and then extend. If it's too much to reach both of those legs at the same time, you can bring just one leg out, back to center, and then opposite leg out, or you can eliminate the legs altogether and just focus on the crunch. And remember that your weights are an option for every movement. We're gonna hold everything out long again. You're gonna crisscross your feet right over left and left over right in 3, 2, and 1. I'm gonna start to crisscross those feet, squeezing through your adductors and abductors, getting into your inner and outer thighs. Again, it's an isometric hold through your 6-pack. Try and keep those legs extending nice and straight, keeping the hover strong. If you want to walk your feet up above your hips, you can go for that extra work. Otherwise, just focus on hovering those legs out wherever you feel like you still have control coming from your 6-pack. So if it feels like your low back starts to take over, reset. You have 4, 3, back to full range in 2, and 1. Come back to that tabletop and then extend. I have one more variation to get through here. You're going to hold in your tabletop, and then we're going to tap one foot down to the ground and then the other, maintaining the 90-degree bend through your knees. You're gonna hold in your tabletop in 3, 2, and 1. Hold in that tabletop, just drop one foot down, back up, and then the other foot down and back up. If you start to feel this in your low back, totally fine to just do crunches instead. It should feel like your 6-pack is doing the work and that you're hovering that foot so that your knee stays at a 90-degree angle the entire time. So try and let all of the movement happen from your hip. You're drilling that low back down into the ground beneath you. You have less than 10 seconds to go, and then we're done with our center core warm-up. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. All right, we're gonna move it into some hamstring curls and glute bridges. So you can either fold your mat in half or you can just slide to the end of your mat. You're going to need both of your gliders or your towels underneath your feet. You want to make sure that your heels can connect to the towels or the gliders, and then lying down on your back, bring your feet in so that they're below your knees, and then we're going to start to bridge our hips up towards the ceiling. You can either reach your hands up above your shoulders, or for a little more stability, press them down beside your hips. Lift your hips up and then slowly lower back down. You want to focus on the squeeze from your glutes as you press up. So just think about what muscle you're engaging as you lift your hips. You want to keep the focus in your booty. If it starts to feel like you're just crunching through your low back to lift, then slow it down. Focus on where the movement comes from. All right, we're going to bring it into one leg and then the other. You're going to lift your right leg up. On this next bridge up, hold at the top and then reach your right leg up, just hovering it in space, and then slowly lower back down one vertebra at a time and then press back up. You should feel like you're keeping your hips parallel to one another. So if it feels like that glute is starting to drop down, then try and focus on slowing the movement down. Maybe you need to reach your foot back down onto the ground. Totally fine to find that support. You're going to switch legs in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set that foot down, switch to the opposite side, and then bridge your hips and slowly lower. It's not about the range of motion so much as it is about creating stability through your center. So you should be going up into that diagonal line and then slowly lowering back down while keeping your hips parallel the entire time. Just a couple more reps here, and we're going to place both of those feet back down on the glider. Rest your booty down towards the ground in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and reconnect both of your feet to your gliders. Make sure that your heels are on those gliders or those towels, and then bridge your hips up, holding at the top. Extend your legs out, and then slowly squeeze heels back in beneath your knees. Extend all the way out. Try and keep that booty lifted so you're still engaged through your center, through those glutes, and then you're going for the hamstring curl in. If it's too much to bring both of your heels in at the same time, see if you can curl just one in and then the other. Both of those legs out. Switch to the opposite leg first. Squeeze in one and then the other, and then extend. Otherwise, see if you can build up towards every single one of those reps being in both of your feet. Almost there, team. You have about 10 more seconds to go here. Try to focus on those hamstrings as well as those glutes. Still lifting your hips up towards the ceiling. You have 3, 2, and 1. Roll it back down. All right, moving into our left leg, you're going to place your right foot on your glider or your towel. Weights are in hand. Finding a lunge, extending your arms out in front of you as you bend through your front knee, and then staying low. Bend your rear knee in as you bring your elbows in beside your ribs. So you're holding an isometric hold through that left leg the entire time, and then you're just slowly sliding the weights out in front of you as you slide your rear leg back behind you. Try and stay super steady through your heel and the outside edge of your foot on that left side. As you bring your knee in below your hip, try not to completely let it relax. You want to think about staying active in that rear leg as it gently glides the glider forward and back. If the weights become too much at any point, totally fine to hold your hands at prayer. You also want to focus on keeping those hips relatively parallel to whatever's in front of you. So try not to let that rear right leg really reach back behind you. You want to keep it parallel to the opposite side. You have about 10 more seconds to go here, and then we're going to bring it into a full lunge, standing up and then sinking back down in 3, 2, and 1. On your next extension, next time you come back up, press through your heel, come all the way up tall so you can come up onto your tippy toes, and then sink back down into your heel. Extend your arms out. Bend those elbows, press through your tippy toes on that working side leg, and then sink it back down. You have less than 10 seconds to go here, and then we're going to hold it all the way down low in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it low. Little pulses of your hips, up an inch and down an inch. See if you can keep those shoulders relaxing down and away from your ears, even as you reach those weights out. If your arms start to fatigue, bring them to prayer or to your hips. You want to focus the movement coming from your glute on that right side. Your quad and your hamstring are going to work no matter what to help you out, but try and focus your attention into your booty. Almost there, everybody. We'll bring it into a side lunge in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and glide that in, still with your left foot down on the floor, right toes on your glider. Glue your elbows in beside your ribs. Extend your right leg out, bringing this into your side lunge as you kick your triceps back behind you. Keeping it super slow in this movement. Try and focus on your breath helping you out. So you're taking an inhale as you reach your butt down and back behind you, and then on your exhale, you're standing up tall. As you stand up, you still want to keep a little bit of ease going through your working side knee, so you're not completely hyperextending through your left knee joint. Keeping that right leg nice and straight. And see if you can go even slower than where you think you should be. So the fewer reps, the better, ultimately. Still keeping your shoulder blades back and together as you reach those arms behind you. Try and think about an extra little lift of your weights up and back. That way you get into every part of the tricep and you even get a little bit of deltoid and lat work as well. You're gonna hold it all the way down low, keeping those weights at prayer in 3, 2, and 1. Reach those hands to prayer. Shift all of your weight into your left foot and then start to tap your right toes up and down. So you're still maintaining that isometric hold on the left side, low as you can. Still keeping it light in those tippy toes. Almost there, team. You have less than 10 seconds to go. And then we're going to bring it back into that full range, but slower in 3, 2, and 1. Reconnect to that glider, super slow, coming up, and then even slower, sink back down. So it should really start to feel like you're getting that burn through your outer glute, as well as your upper leg on the left. You have 15 seconds to go here. Still keeping those abs tight. So even though our leg is our primary worker here, you still want to keep your central core turned on. Less than 10, and then we're going to bring it down into some hamstring and glute work in 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Go ahead and ditch the glider. Coming down onto your mat, you're going to find yourself in a quadruped position. You need one of your weights. You're going to place it in the crook of your working left knee, and then coming onto your hands and your knees, start to lift that left leg up and then slowly lower back down. On your exhale, you're pressing up. On your inhale, lowering. If you want to make this more challenging, tuck your opposite side toes under, pop up and off of your knee into beast, and then bring it in to those curls. Squeezing strong from your glute to get this lift going. You're almost there. You're going to hold it at the top in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it at the top, little pulses, squeezing strong from that glute. If you start to fatigue in that center, in that balancing side leg, just bring your knee down to the ground. Last 4, you'll bring it down onto your right forearm in 2 and 1. Right forearm down on the ground, open up to face front, reaching your left arm up towards the ceiling. From here, start to lift and lower, squeezing through that outer glute on the left. Still keeping your hips opening. So think about your top hip rolling down and back. Your top shoulder blade is rolling down and back to stay open in your chest. You're gonna grab this weight in your top hand in 3, 2, and 1. And grab that weight, extend your leg out long, and then start to draw little circles with that leg. Choose whichever direction you want to go first. We're going to switch directions in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and switch to the opposite side direction, keeping a little lift going the entire time, so you're never completely relaxing your inner thigh down towards the ground. Still squeezing through those obliques to keep the lift of your torso up. You have 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Made it through your legs. Moving into our center core again, you're going to find a plank position with your hands on your mat and your toes on your gliders, extending out long into your best plank position, and then slowly start to squeeze through your abs, folding your body in half, and then extend out long. You're just folding, keeping your upper half nice and straight, and keeping your legs nice and straight. Keep it super slow as you lift your hips and as you extend. Try and keep those palms drilling down into the ground. It's like you're corkscrewing your hands into the ground. Pinky fingers reach out away from one another and your thumbs rotate in towards center. You're gonna hold it out long on this next extension. Find your high plank, now transitioning it into a cannonball. Bend your knees in below your hips and then extend out long. Try and maintain that nice flat back so you have a neutral spinal curve happening. And then staying with that breath, exhale as you bring your knees in, and inhale as you reach out long. See if you can slow it down even slower with every rep, really focusing on where you feel the movement. You should be feeling it through those center abs. Stay with that breath, exhale as you bend, inhale as you reach. Last couple here, you have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Extend out long and then bring it down onto your forearms. We're going to bring this into an alternating side plank. So rotate open to one side, stacking those feet, reaching your top arm up towards the ceiling. If you want to go for a little extra, you can try lifting that top leg up and off of your bottom leg. Find the hover without letting your hips rock forward or back. You're going to switch in 3, 2, and 1. Switch to the opposite side. Find the stack of your feet. If you can, go for that extra little lift of your top leg. Still feeling your hips. Stay steady. Top hip on top of the bottom. We're going to switch directions again in 3, 2, and 1. Switch, opening up to face the first side again. If you want to go for a little extra, you can bring it into a side crunch, reaching your leg in towards your elbow, and then extend, reach in, and then extend, switching sides in 3, 2, and 1. Last time, reach up. If you want that extra, reach your top leg, crunch in, and then extend. You want to focus on still keeping that lower hip up and away from the ground, so try not to let this crunch totally compensate your form. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bringing it down onto your back. We're going to bring it into some crunches. Your choice if you want to use your weights or if you just want to focus on body weight. Lying all the way down, reach your hands up above your shoulders. Knees are up above your hips. Try and create that 90-degree bend through your knees and then press your hands in towards your thighs. You're going to reach one hand out as you reach your opposite leg into a dead bug and then switch to the opposite side. You want to keep a little bit of pressure going on your hand and your upper leg as you bring your hand and your leg to center. So you're still active through that side that isn't quote unquote doing any work, but it should still feel like you're holding an isometric hold. You're drilling your low back down into the ground beneath you, staying active in those abs as if your six-pack is melting to the sides of your waist. We're going to bring it back to center for regular old crunches. Hands back behind your head in 3, 2, and 1. Keeping those knees at 90, hands behind your head, and then just start to crunch, lifting your head, neck, and shoulders up and off of the ground. And keep that low back connected. You want to think about where your head and your upper torso lift from. So you want to keep that nice, complete unit of your head, neck, and shoulders. You're staying connected to your breath. If the weights are too much, just set them down. We're going to bring this into a bicycle crunch. Opposite elbow to opposite knee in 3, 2, and 1. On your next crunch, reach elbow towards knee, extending the other leg out long, and then switch to the opposite side. It's not about speed. It's not about getting as many reps as you can. It's really about focusing through where the movement is coming from. You're going to hold an isometric hold. One elbow towards opposite knee in 3, 2, and 1. Hold steady here. Think about your rib reaching towards your hip, keeping that opposite leg extended out straight. You're going to switch sides in 3, 2, and 1. Switch to the opposite side. See if you can still keep that head, neck, and shoulders
lifting up and away from the ground, long and straight, active through that other leg. You have 3, 2, and 1. Awesome.
Bringing it back into our opposite side leg, you are going to place the glider beneath your left foot. We're going to work our right leg this time. Placing your right foot on the ground, bring your elbows to 90, and then as you extend your rear left leg behind you, press those hands out in front of you, and then bend your rear knee in as you draw your elbows in beside your ribs. Extend, and then slowly squeeze back in. Try and focus on all of your weight staying in the front side leg. Honestly, the drag forward and back of that rear foot is just to distract you. You have a little bit of movement happening there, but it's not a whole lot of strengthening, right? Just want to focus on that easy mobility through your hip. Getting that extra little stretch as you reach, but really focusing on your weight, staying put in that front side leg. Keeping your shoulder blades down and back, easy in your breath. You'll hold everything all the way out long. In 3, 2, and hold everything out long. This time, when you bring it in, you're gonna stand up, coming all the way up onto those tippy toes, and then sink back down through your heel. Extend that leg out long and back behind you. Bend your elbows in, press all the way up, come up on your tippy toes, and then sink back down. Find your low lunge position again. Try and still keep it super slow. Exhale as you press up. Inhale as you lower. I'm gonna find that low hold, coming into little pulses on this next lunge. Extend out long, and then pulse up an inch and down an inch. If those weights start to feel like too much, just bring your hands to prayer. You wanna focus on your shoulder blades staying down and back. Try and focus on that knee staying back behind your toes. So even as you pulse here, you're not just jutting that knee out in front of you. You wanna focus on your butt sinking down and back. If you can keep those arms reaching out, you just have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Standing up for your side lunge. All of your weight stays in that right leg. Gliders beneath your left foot. We're gonna bring it into our triceps again. So glue those elbows in nice and tight. And then as you bring it down into your lunge, extending your leg out long beneath your left foot. Think about your butt sinking directly down and back behind you. Keep it super slow. Abs are engaged, belly button in and down. And you want to think about your hips staying in line with your knee and your ankle on that working side leg. So try not to let your butt totally float out to the side, and you also don't want your knee to jut out to the side. You want to keep everything in one plane of motion underneath you here. Staying connected to that extra little lift through the back side of your arm as you extend. Going for that extra little tricep, delt and lat work. You're gonna hold it all the way out in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it all the way out. Bring those hands to prayer, and then go for those little lifts. All of your weight stays in that right side leg, staying as low as you can. I know it's tough. Feel that extra little burn, and then you should also be feeling it through that outer glute on the left as you lift and lower. Try and let it be a super light tap of your toes down towards the ground, so you're really focusing on your stability coming from that isometric side. You'll set that foot back on your glider in 3, 2, and 1. Awesome work, everybody. Keeping it super slow. Sink all the way down, and then slowly back up. Try and let it be even fewer reps. Focus on those broad collarbones, pounding your chest, and still squeezing those abs just a little bit, as if you're holding a plank. Less than 10. You have 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Bringing it down onto your mat. You want one of your weights to come into the crook of your right knee Finding your tabletop back position. Both palms are down with your knees, and then start to press that weighted side leg up towards the ceiling, and then bring it back down. Press up, and then bring it back down. Again, option to pop up on your tippy toes on that left side. Find your beast position, and then go for that lift of your leg up. Resist back down. If you start to fatigue in that balancing side leg, no big deal. You can always set that knee back down. But this helps you work your center core a little bit more. We're gonna hold it all the way up high. Go for those pulses in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up high. Tiny little pulses at the top. If you start to feel like your hips are rocking side to side, set that stabilizing side knee down. Just focus on the squeeze from your glute on the right to keep that lift going. We're gonna open up to face the side in 3, 2, and 1. Bring it down onto your forearm, reaching your top right arm up towards the ceiling, and then go for that lift and lower. Refocus through the squeezing your hamstring to pull your heel in towards your glute on the weighted side, opening up your hips. Top glute rolls down and back. Abs are engaged, belly button in and down. Try and stay steady in that breath. We're gonna remove that weight from the crook of your knee. You're gonna hold it up high, going for that extension of your leg in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and grab that weight, extend your top right leg all the way out, and then start to draw little circles with that foot. Squeezing through your inner and outer thigh. Doesn't have to be a huge circle. You wanna focus on your control over this movement. So just know where your leg is in space. Still opening up through those collarbones. You're gonna switch direction in 3, 2, and 1. Switch direction. Keeping that top hip rolling down and back. Steady in your breath. Less than 10, and then you're done with your legs. In 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Set that weight down. Moving into obliques, we're going to start with our twisted cannonball. So bring your feet onto your gliders, your hands onto your mat, extend out into a plank position, and then cross your left foot in front of the right, twisting your hips, still keeping your shoulders parallel to the ground. Start to bend your knees in toward your elbow on the right, and then extend out long. Try and keep it nice and slow as you squeeze in, keeping your hips twisted but your shoulders parallel. Matching your breath to the movement. On your inhale, you're extending your legs all the way out, and then on your exhale, bending your knees in beneath your hips. Try and keep your hips up at shoulder height best you can. And even though we're working through our obliques, you still want to keep your center core engaged so your belly button is in and down just a little bit. And think about your upper body as being in a plank position. So you're never completely letting yourself collapse through your shoulders. You're still strong in those biceps. You have less than 10 seconds to go here, and then we're gonna bring it down into a double forearm plank. Last 3, 2, and 1. Extend your legs out long. Bring your forearms down onto the mat or the ground beneath you. Squeeze strong through those abs. And then from here, lift just your left leg up towards the ceiling. Finding that squeeze through your center as well as through your glute. If you can add the extra little pulse of your leg up towards the ceiling, you can go for that. If you need to modify down on your right knee, totally fine to do that, but try and keep that single leg lifting up to keep the work happening through your center. Almost there, everybody, less than 10, and then we'll bring it into our kneeling side crunch in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and pull those knees in, grabbing your weights. You want to send your left leg out to the side. With your weights in your hands, you can cross your arms over your chest and then bring it into your side crunch. If you want to go for that extra, you can reach both of those weights in just that top side left hand, reaching up towards the ceiling, or you can hold your hands at prayer or at your hips, whatever works for you. You want to focus on a slow dip down to the side as you crunch up, trying not to completely relax out of that reach at the top. So yes, you want to get that crunch of your rib towards your hip, but you're not just chilling out at the top. You're still super light through your tippy toes on that left side, keeping that nice diagonal line going from your foot all the way up and out through the crown of your head. You want to think about lengthening through your body. Squeeze your belly button in and down and keep it slow in your movement. Staying connected to your breath. Inhale as you reach, exhale as you crunch. You're gonna hold it all the way out long for little pulses in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it all the way out long, tiny little pulses up and down. So you are using your center to find that stability. So you're working the entire time in this pulse. We're gonna add our twist in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and corkscrew your torso down to face the ground, and then corkscrew up to face towards the ceiling. Try and keep your hips completely motionless. Thinking about the rotation happening through that mid-spine, and still keeping your shoulder blades back and together. If you need help keeping your hips parallel, think about squeezing that left glute just a little bit. That'll help keep your hip directly on top of your bottom hip. We're gonna hold it facing down to the ground in 3, 2, and 1. Turn down to face the ground. Tiny little pulses up and down. Still keeping those shoulder blades back and together to make it more challenging. You can always reach the weights away from your torso. The further away from your body they are, the more challenging it will be. Almost there, team. You have 3, 2, and 1. Next up, moving into arms, you're gonna bring it into a tricep push-up. So hands come down onto the mat, reaching your legs out long. If you need to bring this into a kneeling position, totally fine. Otherwise, start to press your chest down towards the ground, and then keeping those elbows in nice and tight towards your ribs. Press back up. You just have 30 seconds of these push-ups here, so it's not a long time. Try and keep those glutes squeezed. Remember, a push-up is just a plank with upper body movement, so try and keep those abs tight. Less than 10 to go, and then we'll bring it into a beast position, grabbing those weights. Last 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and kneel on your mat. Knees below your hips, hands below your shoulders. You can grab just one of your weights to begin with. Doesn't really matter which hand that you start with. Tuck your toes under so that you can pop up and off of your knees, finding the hover in your beast. Reach your elbow up beside your ribs, and then start to kick that hand up and back behind you. You're gonna alternate one side and then the other, but not before we do some pulses. You're gonna hold this arm all the way up and back in 3, 2, and 1. Hold this arm all the way up and back, little pulses. If you need to set your knees down for a little bit of support, totally fine to do so. Stay with that steady breath. We're gonna switch sides in 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set that weight down, palm rests down, and then tucking those toes under again. Pop up and off of your knees, finding the hover. Go for that slow reach up and back, and then bend. Try and stay connected to that breath. Slow movement to begin with, keeping your hips parallel to the ground. Try not to just collapse down into your stabilizing side shoulder. You're gonna hold this arm up and back in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it up and back. Tiny little pulses here. You're almost there. Stay steady in that breath. Less than 10 seconds to go. I'm gonna bring it into some cardio in 3, 2, and 1. Coming up from your beast position with those weights in hand. Find your feet on the ground. You're gonna go for a bicep curl, reaching your hands up and out to shoulder height. Bicep curl in, and then extend out long. If you can, lift one foot up and off of the ground, finding that steady balance on one side. Reach those hands out, and then bicep curl in. If you wanna make it more challenging, both of those weights can go in one hand, reaching up, and then curl in. Still keeping those abs nice and tight, keeping that balance going strong. You're gonna switch to both of those weights in both of those hands. Feet back on the ground in 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring it back into both of those weights, working simultaneously, and then go for that reach of the opposite side, leg up, finding the hover. Again, to make it more challenging, both of your weights in just one arm. Try and keep that center core nice and tight, squeezing strong through those abs. Stay with that steady breath. You're gonna separate your weights again, bringing it into a little bit of cardio in 3, 2, and 1. Separate those weights. Go ahead and find a balance on both of those feet. Hinge from your hips, bend through those knees, and then start to run your arms. You're trying to keep your hips and your core as steady and strong as you can, and then run your arms. So you should start to feel like you're really working through your six pack to maintain that stability. You're not letting your booty rock around side to side. If you want to make it more challenging, by all means, go for that lift, reaching one leg up and off of the ground. See if you can keep that gentle hover. Notice how your body really wants to rock side to side. And then when you're ready, switch to the opposite side. Give it a try. Even if you just lift that foot up for a couple seconds and then have to set it back down, do what you can. We're gonna replace both those feet in 3, 2, and 1. See if you can speed it up here a little bit faster, get that heart rate going a little bit higher. This is not Pilates at all, but I love this move because it does get the heart rate going. All right, team, we're almost there. You're gonna set these weights down in 3, 2, and 1. Switching it up, bringing it into our obliques on the opposite side. Feet are back on your gliders. Your hands are down on your mat. Extend your legs out, this time crossing that right foot in front of the left, and then bend your knees, bringing them in toward your elbow, and then extend. Try and keep it super slow as you extend and bend. Still keeping your shoulders parallel to the ground, strong in that tabletop position through your torso. Again, you're finding a strong plank, so think about really corkscrewing your palms down into the ground beneath you. Staying connected to your breath. If you can, think about that bottom right hip reaching down towards the ground, top left hip reaching up towards the ceiling in your twist. Almost there, team. I'm gonna bring it down into that double forearm plank, extending your torso out long. Last couple reps here, keeping it slow. Last 3, last 2, and 1. Extend those legs all the way out, uncross those feet, bring it down onto both of your forearms, extend all the way out, and then reach just that single right leg up and off of the ground. Finding the hover, if you can, go for that extra little pulse, reaching your leg up towards the ceiling. If you need to set your stabilizing side left knee down on the ground, you can go for it. Almost there, almost there. Squeezing from your glute, ribs reach towards your hips. You have 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Grab your weights, bringing it up into your kneeling position. Extend just your right leg out to the side, cross your arms over your chest, and then bring it down into your side crunch. Right from the get-go, it doesn't have to be a huge range of motion. You just want to focus on your control over the movement. Your hips stay completely steady. You're not letting too much weight rest in your right leg. You want to keep your weight reaching away from that foot. So you're trying to elongate and find balance. Shoulder blades are down and back. If you want to go for that extra option, reaching both of those weights up above you in just your right arm, you can go for that, or you can bring your hands to prayer. Think about where the movement comes from. So you're thinking about those center core muscles. If you start to disengage from them, if you can't feel where you're supposed to be working anymore, you can place one hand across your midsection. Feel the muscles work for you. Remember, when we work our obliques, we're working both sides at the same time. You're gonna hold it out for pulses on this next extension. Hold it out long, tiny little pulses, just up an inch and down an inch. Try and stay steady in that breath. Try and keep the reach going. Tiny movement is just 1 inch up and 1 inch down. You're gonna hold, bringing it into your corkscrew in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it out long, corkscrew down, face the ground, corkscrew up to face the ceiling. Keeping those hips parallel. If you start to feel like that top hip is rocking forward, squeeze your glute on the right there. And remember, if you can't connect to where you want a muscle to be activating, touch it, look at it in your reflection. All of those are little hacks for your brain to focus its attention into activating that muscle. On your next twist, you're gonna hold it facing the floor in 3, 2, and 1. Hold it facing the floor. Tiny little pulses up an inch and down an inch. Still trying to stay light through that right leg. Stay with that steady breath. Almost there, team. You have less than 10 seconds to go. I'm gonna bring this into some center core in 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. All right, finishing off strong with our center core. You're gonna lie down on the floor or on your mat. We're gonna bring it into superheroes to begin with. Reach those arms out long, legs out long, squeeze through your abs, so a little bit of engagement through your center, lifting your legs up and off of the ground. Squeeze your elbows beside your ribs, and then extend those arms out long. You can rest your hands and your legs in between reps, reaching chest and thighs up and off of the ground. Squeeze elbows towards your ribs, and then slowly lower back down. Even as you lower back down, you still want to keep a little bit of attention in the squeeze of your belly button in towards your spine, so you're not completely just letting go through that center. All right, team, we're gonna move this into a swimmer. Option to grab your weights if you want. You're gonna reach those hands out wide at shoulder height in 3, 2, and 1. Reach those arms out long. Squeeze, lifting your legs. Start to flutter kick your legs as you sweep your hands beside your hips, and then reach your arms out wide. If you want those weights, go ahead and sweep them beside your sides as you keep the flutter kick going. So legs are moving quickly, squeezing from your glutes. Arms are moving slowly as you sweep beside you, and then extend. Almost there, everybody. You have less than 10 seconds to go. And then we're gonna find our final center core work with a plank in 3, 2, and 1. Pop back up onto those forearms. This is it. Final center core hold of your workout today. Keeping your shoulders directly above your elbows. Extend those legs strong. Stay with that steady breath. Deep inhale and exhale. You want to try and think about all of the strength that you have created in your body today, all of the endurance that has gotten you through those moves when you thought, oh man, I can't do one more rep, and yet you can power through. If you start to feel shaky, refocus on your breath. Think about just getting through the next 3 breaths. If you got through those 3 breaths, awesome. Now can you get through the next 3? You have less than 10 seconds to go. Try and stay with that engagement through your abs, through your booty. You have 3, 2, 1, and relax. Awesome work, everybody. That was your workout. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.